December 28, 1996. The investigation into JonBenet Ramsey's death is only 2 days old, and it's already in trouble. The Ramseys hold a memorial service for JonBenet at their Boulder church.
Imagine carrying the weight of your daughter's unsolved murder for a decade, mainly staying quiet until you can't anymore. That's Patsy Ramsey, and before ovarian cancer claimed her in 2006, she finally broke her silence on JonBenet, and what she revealed was raw, painful, and far from the closure anyone wanted. In a case that's gripped us since 1996, with fresh DNA twists in 2023 keeping it alive, Patsy's words cut deep, exposing family heartbreak and investigative frustrations that still echo today. Stick around as we revisit that fateful night, unpack her book confessions, her last interviews, and why this story refuses to fade. It's heavy, but it's real. Let's dive in. The night of the murder, recapping the tragedy. On December 25, 1996, a family's Christmas turned into one of America's most famous mysteries. John and Patsy Ramsey, a successful couple in their 40s, spent the day celebrating with their children, 9-year-old Burke and 6-year-old JonBenet, who was lively and loved pageants. They had a party for John's work, and JonBenet was joyful, opening presents and enjoying the festivities. By about 10 p.m., the family went to bed, with JonBenet asleep in her room on the second floor of their home in Boulder, Colorado. Early on December 26, around 5:30 a.m., Patsy woke up to find JonBenet missing. She panicked and discovered a 2.5-page ransom note on the kitchen staircase, written on their notepad in black marker. It demanded $118,000, which was exactly John's bonus that year, and threatened to call the police if they were called. Patsy screamed for John and called 911 at 5:52 a.m., saying, "Well, we have a child missing. There's a note left. I don't know what to do." Police arrived by 6 a.m., treating it as a kidnapping, and were also joined by friends as a search began. Hours passed with no word from the kidnappers. Around 1 p.m., while John spoke with his pilot about a private jet to pursue leads, a detective suggested searching the house more carefully. John and a friend checked the basement, where they found JonBenet hidden behind boxes and paint cans in a room they called the wine cellar. The autopsy later showed she was strangled with a garrote made from a cord and a broken paintbrush, with signs of blunt force trauma to her head. There were no signs of forced entry, but the scene was chaotic, with a broken window, a suitcase, and fibers everywhere. It was a parent's worst nightmare, and the Ramseys were devastated. Finding JonBenet changed everything from a kidnapping to a murder case, raising many questions. Who did this? Why did it happen in their home? Patsy felt her world collapse at that moment. In those early days, she and John mostly stayed quiet and hired a lawyer as media interest grew. Patsy's silence was not indifference. It was a way to cope with the intense scrutiny. Next, we will look at how the investigation developed. Early investigations and family scrutiny. The silence begins. After the tragic murder of JonBenet Ramsey, the investigation that followed turned the Ramsey family into the most closely watched family in America. Patsy Ramsey didn't stay silent because she was guilty, but to protect herself from what felt like a witch hunt. I will explain the events step by step using police files, court records, and the Ramseys' own stories to show how suspicion grew and why Patsy didn't speak up at first. From the beginning, on December 26, 1996, detectives viewed John, Patsy, and even their 9-year-old son, Burke, as the primary suspects. This suspicion grew because of the ransom note. It was written on their notepad with their marker and had a strange theatrical style, demanding exactly John's Christmas bonus of $118,000. Handwriting experts initially thought Patsy wrote it because some of her writing showed similar phrases and letter shapes. However, later FBI tests in 2000 could not confirm this. There was no sign of forced entry, the broken basement window was old, and a suitcase under it suggested someone may have set the scene. JonBenet's injuries, including strangulation and head trauma, pointed to someone inside the house. The lack of fingerprints or footprints made people think there was a cover-up. The Boulder police, with only 12 detectives for a city of 100,000, treated the house as a crime scene but allowed friends to walk through early on, ruining necessary evidence like DNA. By January 1997, the pressure on the Ramsey family was overwhelming. They hired top lawyers and avoided speaking to the police alone for months. They eventually did a joint interview at their lawyer's office in April 1997, but it was tense. Detectives pressed Patsy about the ransom note, her involvement in pageants. Some people thought JonBenét's outfits were too suggestive, which the tabloids jumped on, and even Burke's snack of pineapple, which was found in JonBenét's stomach, suggesting she had been awake later than claimed. Patsy later described this interrogation as brutal, saying in a 1998 interview, "They treated us like criminals from the start." In June 1998, the family took polygraphs with a private examiner. John and Patsy passed, but Burke's results were inconclusive due to his age, leading to wild speculations. The media frenzy exploded, with headlines screaming, "Parents did it!" Vanity Fair even labeled Patsy a stage mother obsessed with pageants, ignoring the family's charitable work funded by John's success. The grand jury in 1999 added to the pressure. They heard secret testimonies for 19 months and called over 30 witnesses, including the Ramseys. They reviewed things like the ransom note's oddities and fibers found that matched Patsy's clothes to the garrote. On October 13, 1999, the jury voted to indict John and Patsy on charges of child endangerment and obstruction. Still, Boulder Daddy Alex Hunter decided not to prosecute, citing not enough evidence and the possibility of DNA from an unknown male found on JonBenét's clothing. This decision offered some relief to the family, but the damage was done. The Ramseys became outcasts and moved to Atlanta in 1998 to escape threats and scrutiny. Throughout this ordeal, Patsy's silence was intentional, guided by her lawyers to prevent further troubles. She focused on her grief, writing letters to JonBenet and joining support groups. However, her frustration began to show in 1997 to 1998. In a rare quote in June 1997, she expressed, "Our daughter was murdered in our home, and we're being destroyed by innuendo." This statement revealed her pain and anger. By 1999, as a book deal approached, she began to speak out more, criticizing the investigation that ignored leads pointing to an intruder. This early scrutiny caused them ongoing pain without answers. To understand her whole story, we must look at her book and key interviews. Patsy's revelations, breaking silence in her book and interviews. Patsy finally spoke out after years of being silenced by lawyers and the media, a key moment in the story. This was not just a simple conversation. It was her heartfelt attempt to take control of their family's narrative. She did this through her 2000 book and several TV interviews, where she shared her profound grief, anger, and strong belief in an intruder. However, what she shared did not bring the closure one might hope for. Instead, it showed a family torn apart by loss and a system that let them down, leaving behind more questions than answers. I will highlight this with direct quotes and context from reliable sources, such as the book, The Death of Innocence, which she co-wrote with John, and excerpts from her interviews. I will be respectful of the pain involved. In the early 2000s, the Ramseys decided to share their story publicly. Their book, The Death of Innocence, the untold story of JonBenét's murder and how its exploitation compromised the pursuit of truth, came out in March 2000. Thomas Nelson published it and became a bestseller, selling over 100,000 copies in its first year, according to Nielsen Bookscan. This was Patsy's chance to speak openly. She described JonBenet as the light of our lives, expressing her grief, saying, "To lose her in such a horrific way, it's a wound that never heals." Patsy strongly supported the idea that an intruder committed the crime. She pointed out evidence that had been overlooked, such as an unidentified boot print in the basement that didn't match any family member. She also mentioned a broken window that could have been an entry point. Patsy wrote about the disarray in their home, saying that our home was a maze of boxes from our recent move, perfect cover for someone to hide. She criticized the police for focusing on stereotypes about her and ignoring valuable tips about suspects, such as John Mark Carr, who later falsely confessed. She added, "If we'd been poor or minority, this wouldn't have dragged on. It's classism in action." She explained that the investigation was flawed from the beginning, with friends walking through the crime scene before it was fully processed, missing evidence and leaks to the media that painted them as villains. The book wasn't just defensive, it also revealed the family's suffering. Patsy shared the painful aftermath, including sleepless nights, John working to escape reality, and Burke needing therapy to deal with losing his sister. She included a touching letter to JonBenet saying she missed her hugs and sparkle and that they would find who took her away. This made her seem more human, just a devastated mother, not a suspect. However, she admitted their silence had made things worse, stating, "We stayed quiet to protect Burke and each other, but it let the lies fester." Reviews of the book were mixed. Some found it healing, while others described it as self-serving, but it did change some people's views. A Gallup poll from 2000 showed 40% of people thought an intruder was responsible rather than a family member. Next, Patsy gave interviews to amplify her message. One significant interview aired in June 2000 on ABC's 20/20 with Peter Jennings, attracting 20 million viewers. In this interview, she appeared tired and straightforward from her undiagnosed cancer, but said with emotion, "I did not kill my child. No one in our family did. There's a monster out there who did this." She discussed the ransom note, saying it was meant to mislead them. Jennings questioned her about the handwriting, and she passionately defended herself, saying, "They hounded me for samples, but the FBI said it wasn't me. It's been torture." She also talked about the emotional impact of the situation, saying, "Every day I wake up hoping for justice, but instead it's more accusations. It's destroying what's left of us." The interviews made her seem more relatable. People saw her pain as she held JonBenet's picture, but they also revealed the ongoing hurt of the unsolved case. By 2003, some progress was made when Boulder DA Mary Lacy sent a letter exonerating the Ramseys based on new DNA analysis. The analysis found unknown male DNA mixed with JonBenet's blood, suggesting an outsider was involved. Patsy viewed this as a step toward truth, but expressed disappointment in private notes, stating, "It's good science, but the damage is done. Our lives are forever scarred." Her statements showed a desperate need for closure amid their suffering, highlighting how the case's mismanagement worsened their pain. As her health declined, her words became a lasting legacy, urging for more action before she fell silent again. In her last years, she spoke with even greater urgency. Final years and in last statements, the ultimate silence breaker. Patsy Ramsey shared her story in her book and interviews, helping to clear up misunderstandings about her family. From 2003 to 2006, she faced health issues while seeking justice for JonBenet. During this time, she struggled with cancer, mixing hope with heartbreak. Her family's grief caused them to drift apart with no resolution in sight, as shown in memoirs, medical records, and her public appeals. In 2003, Patsy's health declined after months of feeling unwell. She felt tired and had stomach pain, but thought it was stress from the case. In May 2003, doctors diagnosed her with stage 3 ovarian cancer, a disease that had already taken her mother's life. This diagnosis came shortly after DA Mary Lacy's letter cleared her name, stating DNA evidence pointed to an intruder. While undergoing treatment at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, she had surgery to remove tumors and then aggressive chemotherapy with Taxol and carboplatin. Her chance of survival was challenging, as stage 3 cancer only had about a 40% chance of surviving 5 years. Still, she remained publicly hopeful, telling friends, "If I can endure the scrutiny, I can beat this." John supported her, and Burke, who was now 16, helped with chores and meals. The family had moved to Roswell, Georgia, seeking a quieter life, but cancer mirrored their family turmoil, invasive and relentless. Patsy used her voice to fight for justice during her cancer battle. In September 2004, she made her first TV appearance since her book came out, joined by Burke, who shared his grief over his sister's death. She addressed rumors directly and defended Burke, highlighting their family's suffering. The emotional interview drew 15 million viewers and gained sympathy for them. By 2005, Patsy's cancer had progressed to stage 4. In one of her last interviews with Larry King, she made a heartfelt plea for justice for JonBenet and spoke about how the case affected her life and marriage. She expressed sadness over the police's inaction and wished for new leads. As 2006 approached, Patsy's health worsened and she entered hospice care. Despite her struggles, she found joy in family moments, like Burke's graduation. Her last clear words urged John to keep fighting for the truth. Patsy passed away on June 24, 2006, at 49, surrounded by her family. They held a private service in Roswell, away from media attention, While the Boulder Police Department offered condolences, there were no new developments in the case, leaving her family with lingering pain and unanswered questions nearly 30 years later. Patsy fought hard for justice and raised awareness of cold cases, even influencing laws such as Colorado's 2008 DNA Preservation Act. Legacy and ongoing case, why it still haunts. Patsy Ramsey's story has had a substantial impact on her family and society, even though her case remains unsolved. Her book and final interviews called for the truth and inspired changes in how unsolved crimes are handled. Patsy's message still resonates. Her 2005 plea on CNN, Find the Killer for JonBenet, motivates advocates to seek justice. She changed how people view her family, from guilty parents to victims of a flawed system. Her focus on intruder DNA led to new laws such as Colorado's JonBenet Ramsey Act, which improved the preservation of biological evidence in cold cases. Patsy's influence raised awareness about child victim cases. It showed how poor initial handling can slow down investigations. In 2023, Boulder Police Chief Steve Redfern announced that they were retesting touch DNA from JonBenet's clothing using new technology to find matches. While many public theories about the case exist, John Ramsey, now 80, remains hopeful. The emotional pain from the case continues. John shares his ongoing grief and PTSD. The media frenzy in the 90s raised ethical concerns and led to reforms in youth competitions. A 2023 YouGov poll showed that 55% of Americans still follow the case, indicating a shared curiosity. In summary, Patsy's story is more than a cold case. It highlights the need for continued searches for answers amid sorrow. If you feel moved by her story, let's talk about it. Share your thoughts about what happened that night. For more insights and updates, consider subscribing. Thank you for your compassion and curiosity.